तू मोहन भाई का क्लास में तो हम लोग मिलते थे दोनों बचपन में, लेकिन तू मोहन भाई का क्लास में गया कैसे? हाउ डिड यू गो इनटू दैट अभंग थिंग? बिकॉज वी वर ऑलवेज आउटसाइड.
No, my initial task started with escorting Ramu. Then I had to spend my time there because I didn't want to come back home and then again go back. So I had to sit there, and so whenever you were there, we were playing outside or whatever. But when you were not there, you were not coming for all the classes.
Yeah, sometimes.
So there are times when so I had perforce had to sit outside and listen to whatever that was going on. And there was a time when Ramu was not well. So he was not to come. So he said, no, they'll wait for me. You go and tell them that I'm not coming. So I went there. So Mohan Pai ji walked from outside and I told him that Ramu येत नाही आता. काय झालं? नाही त्याला तब्येत बरोबर नाही. असं कर, तू बैस आणि सपोसा धर. He was such a big man that I could not have the courage to tell him no. I thought it's a matter of half an hour, and most of the accidents in life happen unexpected. So I said, Sapasa. And but by that time I had kind of got a hang of playing on the harmonium, trying out various notes, and most of the abhangs that they were practicing were already there. I mean, though I did not participate in the practice, but since I was witnessing all that, a young mind always, grasps things that happen around him. So I had kind of, and he suddenly noticed that I am playing. I am not just holding sapasa. Hare chan wajavto tu, wajav. And then he just got involved. And he said, हाँ बरोबर वाजो. Start हो गया. तो एक बार ये हुआ क्लास में. Then there was a program at Jnaneshwar Mandir in Dadar, and it was Kakad Arati. So if you recall, before every Samadhi Sohala, 5-6 days they will do Kakad Arati, and the last day will be Samadhi Sohala, or even before Ashad Ekadashi also. Suddenly one day Ramu was sitting behind, and Mohan Pai was playing the harmonium. Chal chal man gana te tu khaiwa sagar bhan. And I have never sung in my life public, but I sang, and he played harmonium for that. And after the whole thing, it was the last song in that Kakadarthi sequence. So after it was over, every lady who was there, I was hardly 20 years by then. I had just finished my college, and everybody came and appreciated. And I felt a little, wo jo spirit tha Lalita Navaratna Male ka, the same spirit maybe I'm doing something good, maybe I'm singing well. So that was actually the journey when I got a little more inducted into Mohan Pai's group. And as you know, all those were elderly ladies, all 60 plus, 70 plus and all that. So for me it was they were all very motherly and very loving, compassionate. And I realized that suddenly they're all like a big family. And one thing took me to another, and then it into another. So a stage came when ultimately towards whenever Mohan Pai, any public program that he would have, while he made Ramu sing, he also made me sing. Much to the dislike of Ramu. Ramu did not like that I am also being asked to sing. But I sang. And there are times when Ramu did not attend the program, I started singing. And then I started singing. So that's how that whole thing happened.
In Marathi?
Marathi without... Marathi Abhang, but without understanding Marathi. I had no clue what Marathi was. So this was Marathi singing, but without understanding Marathi.
True.
And nobody taught me the meaning. See, you must not blame me because it's not my language. And of course, Mohan Pai used to write the script in Marathi, so I could read, but never understood the meaning. And so we blindly kind of, whatever was written, we were singing that without understanding the bhava. Raga was okay, tala was okay, and singing was okay. But bhava was lacking completely because the meaning never got understood. While a normal Marathi Abhang program would be set to, you'll have tunes, nice ragas and tala. But this was completely different. It had all elements of singing, like you have something called dhavta, where you just narrate the storyline. And then you had specific areas where it is very ragdari and very bhava oriented. And then you had Abhangs like presentation. So it was a mixture of all these three, and it was fabulous to hear this. We have never heard any such thing in our life. In the Dakshina Bhajana Sampradaya, it was bhajans, where everybody would sing and everybody would repeat. But this was a completely different format, And both Ramu, my elder brother, and me fell in love with this presentation. But the difficult part was this program starts at 4 o'clock in the morning
At Gnaneshwar Mandir.
at Jnaneshwar Mandir, Shivaji Park, just along the seashore, and would end by about 8:30. So 4.5 hours. Now, while we were willing to sit for 4.5 hours, the challenge was how do we reach Jnaneshwar Mandir at 4 o'clock in the morning? We were living in Kurla.
And early morning there were no buses.
Yeah,
They were private.
4 o'clock means you had to leave the house by say 2:30, and you never had those transport facilities then. There was no train. You will not believe we used to walk all the way from Kurla till Jnaneshwar Mandir, which will take roughly about 1.5 hours. And imagine the kind of passion in that night. And dogs will bark at you.
Yeah.
But we didn't bother about all that. We just wanted to listen to that program. That was a kind of a mad obsession that we had to listen to Mohan Pai. So imagine we'll get up at say 2 o'clock, take bath, and start walking from Kurla, Sayan, Matunga, Dadar, and we'll reach Shivaji Park. And by the time we reach, it will be maybe 4:15 kind of thing, and all the front seats would have gone. I'm referring to the initial time.
Yeah, I understand.
And then we will sit in the balcony and start listening to it. Ramu was absolutely obsessed with that singing because he enjoyed the tune, the ragas and everything. I was interested more in terms of accompanying Ramu and the fun of going in the night and things like that. Beyond a certain level, it refused to get in.
You used to refer to the book, right?
Exactly, I'm coming to that. So somebody would be having that book, so I would tell it, please let me. So they will feel so nice, a young person, young boy asking for the book. But my purpose was not to know the song. My purpose was aur kitna piche aur hai, kitna aur chalega. So this was the fun, and people used to appreciate me so much, but I knew within me that I was not, it is not justified. I was trying to see when will the program end so that I can go back. And Ramu, being my elder, he is elder to me almost by about 8 years. So to lure me, he will always give me something. Maybe he will take me to a Udupi restaurant after the program is over. So my focus was there. So this was all a means to an end. It was not an end in itself. But over a period of time, that somehow got into me and got into that singing mode. And invariably, after the program is over, you would start discussing, because those days you didn't have many subjects. There was no politics, there was nothing. So you will end up discussing those songs. And since both of us were equally ignorant about Marathi, so the focus would be the part of Jnaneshwara lagi Chandanachi Uti. Jnaneshwara Uti yana sambandham. Illa Jnaneshwara Chandana. So the song was Jnanadeva lagi Chandanachi Uti. So we used to discuss the Jnaneshwara Chandana. So we will say the Chandanam na Bangalore la Karnataka la. So Uti is next to that. So like this, very silly interpretation of the songs, because our knowledge was so wanting that we couldn't understand what's happening. But for example, the very first song, Vithala Rukmini Sahita Garuda Hanumanta Anika Santa Mahanta Zamazhale Parisa Bhagavata Nama Pundalika Pataka Sahita Uthavale Gandharva Ani Deva Ale Suragana Gandharva Ani Deva Ale Suragana Chalali Vimane Alankapuri Alankapuri Alankapuri. This was such a fascinating Puriya Danashi, because in Carnatic music such rags were not there. So we used to get really endeared, and then Ramu said, no, I must also learn this. So we requested Mohan Pai, and then he started teaching one by one. And a stage came, today looking back at it, this is about 4 hours of presentation of very, very music of a very high order in terms of Marathi.
Not just that, see Nam Sankirtan and the Marathi Abhangs and the traditional Carnatic this thing, that is the basic difference. Marathi Abhangs do not follow a particular path of any raga for that matter. As far as it denotes that bhava which is there in that song, it is more than enough. So whether in Samadhi Soha itself, in one paragraph you will find one rag, the next line itself changes to another. Tal is set the same. So similarly, when you are learning that, probably if you have that classical mind or the raga oriented mind, it is very difficult to understand even or begin to understand, because your mind expects that this will come through that.
No, we look at a composition through the raga.
Correct.
In Marathi Abhang, it is exactly the reverse.
Bhava.
The bhava takes on a particular raga.
Correct.
So the journey is very difficult. The journey is very different, diametrically opposite, one can say. So what used to happen is, while we got the raga, the grip of the raga, the bhava always escaped us
Yes.
because of the lack of knowledge of the language. But all said and done, our knowledge on Carnatic music helped us to embellish the Hindustani raga. For example, Puriya Dhanashri. But in Puriya Dhanashri, the gamaka is not handled in Hindustani music. The gamaka is a part of Carnatic tradition. So, Vithala Rukmini Sahita. This is how a Carnatic musician can sing. A Hindustani musician, Vithala Rukmini Sahita. So it looked bland. So that element of gamaka is something that we added to already rich repository of Mohan Pai. We brought in that new element of Carnatic music, and I think this is what captured the Maharashtrian minds. कि भाई ये हिंदुस्तानी तो है, ये मराठी अभंग तो है, ये समाधि सोहला तो है, लेकिन इनके गाने में कुछ तो एक अलगपन है. So that used to excite people. So when I start singing, people feel very nice. They can't put their finger कि this is what is different, but there is something different. So वो जो element है, even my guru Mohan Pai himself used to many times ask me to sing it again and again. I will not know why is he asking me to sing. Maybe my pronunciation, as you keep correcting, is wrong. But then later on I understood that he is trying to enjoy that aspect. Sai Baba, Sai Baba. So they will sing Sai Baba, whereas I will sing Sai Baba, Baba Sai. So this aspect of a different handling, which of course today I am reasonably adept, but in those formative times, we always focused on the music, not the bhava.
This is again the greatness of Mohan Pai. Most of the gurus, they will teach you something and expect you to just follow that. And if you improvise, they will get either annoyed or dismiss you for.
No, I would say even Mohan Pai as a guru had that limitation.
But he enjoyed.
No, that is up to a certain level he enjoyed. That is, Mohan Pai always wanted to ensure that the raga does not kill the bhava.
Correct.
So up to the time the raga is within the bhava, for example,
It is beautifying the
Shraddha Saburi Bola Sait Dona Shabda Hai Ati Molat Bhayan Ko Tuz Mag Kashat Patishi Sai. He enjoyed this because it was in keeping with the bhava. But suppose I had said Shraddha Saburi, he will not like it.
Yeah.
He will say that gamaka has to be within that space.
Correct.
If you overdo, that is basically the difference between, I must also tell you this, the reason why he started enjoying me more than Ramu was this. Ramu was very emphatic in his approach. So he would do what he thinks is right. Whereas I was more flexible. I listened to Mohan Pai. While I listened to him, I also did that little additions here and there. But within that line, there is always a line up to which it is okay and beyond which it is not okay.
That is how you changed Maze Manor.
Maze Manor is a classic example of what shall I say, my special stamp of singing. Maze Manor was a normal song.
Correct.
When Mohan Pai taught us.
I remember.
Maze Manorat Purna Kije Deva Keshava. So the touching of that re from that pa or the madhyama was something very unique.
Yeah.
Now Mohan Pai taught me Maze Manorat Purna Kije Deva Keshava Madhava Narayana. So it was very simple presentation. Whereas by adding, and I must confess that it was not in the early stages that I could do this. It is only after marrying you, after getting the grip of the bhava, because I then realized which are the places where you can do this embellishment and which are the places where you must not do it. And I want to give you another very beautiful episode in our life after marriage. There was a time when I sang Abir Gulal Udhali Tarang Nathagari Nache Madha Sakha Pandurang. This is a beautiful Abhang, and it is in the rag group in Hindustani, but it is Mohanam in Carnatic. Mohanam is a rag which is very happy. You know, it is enjoy your life. So I sang that day in that particular program, which was well attended. There was a big audience, and my Guru Mohan Pai, no, not Delhi, somewhere here in Maharashtra, Mohan Pai was also there, and I sang it beautifully. And when we came back home, and that was the time when our Guru Mohan Pai used to live with us, and as we came back, normally he will analyze the program. Ki aaj kaisa hua, kasa zala, te barobar hote, he barobar chukla, te sur tikde besur zala tuza. All these things we will explain. That day he was very silent. And I asked him, sir, kai chuk zala ka mazakade? Nahi re, chhodun de. And I knew something was there in his mind. And after some time again went, तुला खरं म्हटलं तर काय व्हायचं? तुला क्लासिकल म्युझिशियन व्हायचं का? ऐसे सर मला काय कळत नाही. तुम्ही जे मला शिकवलं ते मी गातो. मला काही कळत नाही, काय क्लासिकल आहे, काय अभंग आहे, काय अर्थ आहे, काय भाव आहे, मला काय कळत नाही. नाही रे, तसं नाही. तू अबीर गुलाला म्हटलं आज, लोक इतकं वेड लागलं त्यांना, इतकं छान म्हटलं तू, तुला खूप बरं वाटलं ना, लोक येऊन तुला आज असं केलं, काय छान म्हटलं तुम्ही. सर मला काय माहीत नाही तुम्ही काय सांगता म्हणून. I thought I did well and people appreciated, but he has not liked it. Sometimes ego stops a guru, but then that day I learnt a new lesson. He asked me, तुला समज क्लासिकल म्युझिशियन व्हायचं, तू माझ्याकडे येऊ नकोस, तू दुसऱ्याकडे कुणाकडे जाऊन शिक. अभंग म्हणायचं तर माझ्याकडे ये. भाव असलं पाहिजे. अबीर गुलाला कोण म्हणतो? चोखामेळा म्हणतो. चोखामेळा कोण आहे? हीन जातीत आहे. अबीर गुलाल उधळी तरंग नाथागरी नाचे माझा सखा पांडुरंग. शिवू कसे उंबरठ्याला आम्ही जाती हीन, पाहू कसे रूप डोळा त्यात आम्ही लीन. अरे आय कांट इवन टच द उंबरठा ऑफ युअर टेम्पल. हाऊ कॅन आय लुक एट युअर आईज? कॅन ही सिंग इट विथ हॅपीनेस? त्याला काय आनंद झाला का हे म्हणत म्हणत? नाही सर, मला फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आई नेवर अंडरस्टूड दैट इज द मीनिंग. अभी उंबरठा क्या है मेरे को क्या मालूम है. सो आई sang it in the musical way. And he said, no, he's absolutely painful. I'm so low class that I can't even touch the umberta of your temple. How do I look at your face? So त्याच्यात एक पॅथोस आणायचं तुला. म्हणजे ते दुःख, खरं म्हटलं तर ते आनंद नाही, वेदना दिसली पाहिजे तुझं गाण्यात. लोकांना वावा, लोक तुझा वावा करायचं म्हणून तू गाऊ नकोस. लोकांना त्यांच्या मनात तू विठ्ठल आणलं पाहिजे. And that is where I realized that singing is not a simple task. It's a body, it's a bundle of so many other emotions. It's raga, it is tala, it is singing, it is bhava, it is your facial expressions, it is your body movements, it is your voice, it is your connect with the audience, it is the accompaniments, it is the pakwaj, it is the harmonium, it is the microphone, it is the recording. So many aspects when it comes to giving a program, and it's a bundle of all this that makes a program a real success.
And all these bundle has to portray the same emotion.
Exactly. Not only that, has to portray that bhava at the top. It is not that it can be somewhere lost in between. So that aspect of singing is something very, very unique to Marathi Abhang. When it comes to Hindustani music or Carnatic music, in Carnatic music it is definitely very raga oriented. In Hindustani music it is again very, very raga oriented. Both I think lose out on the bhava. Whereas Marathi Abhang is a class.
Both they think that is the issue actually. Both these streams, they think that bhava is generated because you touch a particular sur in a particular manner. Bhava has to come from within.
Exactly.
Only then it can be portrayed.
It is the bhava driven sangeet. The raga and the tala is only a tool
To express that.
to express that bhava. Whereas in classical music it is exactly the reverse.
Correct.
Just like you have sona, you have chandi, each has its own importance.
So we were talking about bhava. So this bhava is portrayed usually through sur, and once you touch that sur in a particular way, that bhava is expressed as per both the traditions. In Abhang, the bhava is understood first. It has to enter you first, then it has to come out. So language plays a major role in this, and there are some words, very tricky words. If you mispronounce it, the meaning completely changes. That was another challenge that you had also.
I think everything that happened in my life, Vittal has already decided. It is all preordained that you will undergo an accident so that the Vittal Bhajan Mandali will be there with you. You will come in contact with Jnananda Swami so that you get the spiritual elevation. You will meet Haridas Giri because that Nam Sankirtan has to happen. You will meet Mohan Pai because you have to learn Marathi Abhangs. And you will meet Latika because she has to constantly correct you in everything in life. So even meeting you, who is, so to say, an expert in Marathi language, is all a means to an end. I don't look at you as a wife. I look at you as a tool that I am using in my life to uplift myself, to upgrade myself. So for me, it is a process of learning. And this process of learning, if you look at me seriously, is the thing which happens to me every second of my life. I am never tired of anything. I keep on upgrading myself. I keep on learning more. I keep on reading more. I keep on listening to more people. So that's a constant process. So language is a beautiful thing. Now language, diction is very important. Like as much as Tamil is important for a Tamilian, Marathi is important for a Maharashtrian person. But here it's a double whammy, because not only it is a diction of the language, it is also the bhava of the language. So when you render Marathi Abhangs, it is not only the language that you must be careful of, you must be able to go through the life of the saint who has composed that Abhang.
At that particular moment.
At that particular moment. So the perspective has to be understood. For example, like my guru corrected me, Abhira Gulale, you have to go through Choka Mela's life. Okay, and what sequence did he narrate this Abhang or did he compose this Abhang? So you have to live through that pain. So that is why Anubhava is very important. So a Marathi Abhang, a lot of people today come and ask me almost every day, will you teach us Marathi Abhangs? My constant answer to all of them is, you are welcome to join in my program. But I don't think I am able to teach anybody Marathi Abhang, because it is nothing but a process of your own self-realization. And that can never be taught. Like, you can tell a child, don't go and touch the flame, it will burn your finger. But till the time the child goes and touches the flame, it will never understand why you stopped it. So this is like that fire. Unless you go near that fire, till the time that fire burns you, till the time you gain that experience through that burning of your life, you will never be able to do justice to the Marathi Abhang. So Marathi Abhang is not just expression in a particular raga or a tala or whatever. It is that burning. Unless you burn your life through that experience, you live that experience through reading, through going through, like we did the 52 episodes on All India Radio, where we had fight, literally we had fight. And our children used to wonder कि रात को 3 बजे इनका क्या झगड़ा है. And we used to fight because we were not fighting with each other. We were fighting with each other on an issue, on an interpretation of a certain word. You with the language base, you felt it should be this. I with the bhava base, I felt no, it should be like this. And there was always a clash between the two of us. It still happens, and it's a continuous process. And there is nothing wrong about it, because both of us enrich our experience by having this fight. So coming back to the language, it is extremely important. For example, Abhira Gulala underwent a complete change after I have understood the meaning. माझे मनोरथ, when I added that the last ध्रुव को पिता निकला दिया, हरि नाम में मन ला दिया, उसे अचल दाम दिला दिया, तुम्हें याद हो कि न याद हो, गजराज पे विपदा पड़ी, मन में जपा जो हरि हरि, ग्रह मार के मुक्ति करी, तुम्हें याद हो कि नहीं हो, द्रौपदी की लाज उतारिया, जब कृष्ण कृष्ण पुकारिया. What kind of a feeling she must have had? Imagine that lone woman when she is disrobed in front of 1,000 prying male eyes. What would have been her experience? And when Krishna comes and saves her, when she ultimately leaves everything else and says, Krishna, you are the only one who is going to save me, and what kind of level of surrender she must have had to go through that process of life, and Krishna ultimately coming and saving her. So you have to live that process, and that is what Mazhe Manoratha Purna Kije Deva is all about. So that living through that experience and winding that storyline into that experience and giving it a meaning, giving it a content, creating that kind of an expression is what appeals to the crowd. For example, when I sing Nondudalum Kidamahi Tadarandabin Noyil Nadangidum Bodu, it's such a fabulous song. that வந்து யமதூதர் வளைத்து பிடித்து உன்னை வா என்று இழுத்திடும் போது. So when the last minute of your life, you know you're going to be no more, and that last second, you don't know what to do, how to utter his name. So he says, don't wait till then, utter the name right now. So these kind of experiences are not songs. They are not some kind of a raga. They are not a rendering of a raga in a thala, nicely in a vasur with lot of accompaniments. No. It is singing of an experience. So unless you bring that ethos, that pathos into your singing and create that meaning, it can never be successful. So people today, sometimes when I go around, a lot of people sing Marathi Abhang because it has become very popular. But because of the lack of language, they just sing that song.
Another thing is, when you are talking of language here, everybody, even I do that. I have also written Tamil songs in Devanagari. But understanding the pronunciations that you are saying and then writing into Devanagari, it's a different thing. But even then, when I try to pronounce that, it will never be the same, because what you are pronouncing and what I will pronounce here in written in Devanagari, though it may be same, but it is different, right? So same thing happens with Tamil. If you take it in Tamil, the Marathi Abhangs, and try to read it through the Tamil script, how would you differentiate between certain letters? Because certain letters, like in Marathi, as we say, are not there in Tamil. I mean, one letter represents that entire portion of letters. If you write it in Tamil, how will you be able to differentiate? Unless you
I will tell you where the fundamental fault is. Ka, cha, ta, ta, pa, ra. This is how Tamil is spoken. There is one ka, there is one cha, there is one ta, one ta, one pa. In Devanagari, it is ka has 4 variations. Ka, ka, gha, gha, ta, ta, dha, dha, pa, pa, bha, bha, like that. So these 4 variations are not there in Tamil.
Correct.
So moment you write ka, you don't know whether it is ka, ka, ga, gha. They are all very different.
Yes.
In Marathi Abhang, in Devanagari, you have all these 4 variations.
Correct.
So 4 multiplied by that 6 or whatever differences are there. So those many pronunciations are there. Whereas in Tamil it is all one.
Yeah.
Now I can say Mache Manorata Purda Kiche Teva. This is how Tamil is written.
Correct.
Now a singer who is singing Marathi Abhangs through the Tamil script has no clue that is it Maje or Mache or Mase. He has no clue. Whether it is Manoratha, Manorada, Manorada.
Correct.
So that is the difficulty. So not every language is the same. Each language has evolved in different places in its own manner, depending on the need of that particular geographical area. So today it is a big challenge to translate Marathi Abhang into Tamil, or to see Marathi Abhang through a Tamil language. So that is why the Bhasha Jnana is extremely important. Without Bhasha Jnana, there is no way. For example, a Maharashtrian cannot sing a Tamil song.
Correct.
Now, sometime back when we did Kirti Shiledar program in Matunga Bhajan Samaj, she wanted to sing a Tamil. Now we all clapped that she did justice to the raga, but pronunciations cannot. I mean, it is because it's a completely different language.
Not only that, unless you are used to speaking that language continuously, you will never be able to pick up the right pronunciation at the right time.
Exactly. So what happens is, to the best of my knowledge and to the best of my assessment, one should desist from doing something that one cannot do well.
Correct.
Sometimes even you would realize, out of the repository of about 500-600 Abhangs, not all Abhangs I handle.
No, you don't.
Because sometimes it has not got into me still.
Yes.
So till the time that particular Abhang gets into you, gets into your scheme of things, you don't want to exploit it, because you may cut a sorry figure. For example, Anadi Ambika Bhagavati is a song which I have learned about at least about 45 years back.
Almost.
And I have sung it at least 100 times when Mohan Pai used to be around.
Yes.
But after that I have not sung.
Yes.
I sang it in Ther, and it was a roaring success.
Correct.
It is because the Abhang also goes through a life process.
Yes.
What 50 years back could appeal to the audience cannot appeal to the audience today.
Not necessarily.
So today the audience taste, the way their bandwidth has changed.
Correct.
So as a responsible performer, you also have to go through that journey and give what they want today. There is no point in trying to say that I will sing what was the style 50 years back and expect people to appreciate it. It will not happen.
Correct.
So one has to constantly...
And also, he had a band of about 50-40 women who were solid in their voices as well as the pronunciations.
Not only pronouns, even the Dhruvapada. When you had that Abhang, the Dhruvapada.
Thing of Abhangs.
Yeah. The concept of Dhruvapada is something that's very unique to Abhang. So Dhruvapada concept is not there in say Dakshina Bhajana Sampradaya. It is there, but it is not as pronounced as it is here.
Usually Dakshina Bhajana Sampradaya, every line is followed by others. It is
No.
not that you sing the entire song and we follow only Dhruvapada.
No, you are mistaken in that. If there is a bunch of 10 Bhagavatas and there is a bunch of 50 audience, the 10 Bhagavatas repeat all those lines every now and then.
Correct.
But the 50 audience is only looking at it as a spectator sport. It is not participative. They are only looking at it, they are only listening to what the Bhagavatas are singing. In Marathi Abhang, that is not the case. In Marathi Abhang, the Dhruvapada is sung by almost the entire congregation.
Yes.
So it changes the entire emphasis on that bhakti. So this is a completely different format.
That is where you also made another change in Marathi Abhangs. In Mohan Pai's time, Marathi was, I should say, popular, or I should say understood by masses. Marathi as it was in olden days, not Marathi which is spoken today. People related to that particular language. So when Mohan Pai used to sing these Abhangs, the language that was there in Abhangs was understood by masses. Then if you are talking of Samadhi Soda, that language is little different, little difficult, and little towards yogic side also to some extent. Mohan Pai's time, people used to understand Marathi, so it was easier for them to follow the Dhruvapada. Later on, in the later times, people stopped understanding to that extent, and it was difficult for people to follow that Dhruvapada. At the same time, the group, because all their elderly ladies, they also started one by one going away from the groups because of age, old age and whatnot. So afterwards, you brought in the change to, instead of repeating the Dhruvapadas by the people who do not understand the language as well as the words sometimes, put in a Namavali for them to follow as a Dhruvapada.
This is nothing but a marriage of Marathi Abhang and Dakshina Bhajana Sampradaya.
Agreed?
In Dakshina Bhajana Sampradaya, Nama becomes very important.
Okay.
For example, Vithala Vithala Jai Jai Vithala.
Okay.
In Marathi Abhang, it is a Dhruvapada. Natha Gari Nache Maja Sakha Panduranga. This is the Dhruvapada, which is sung by the group. Imagine a situation that I have 2 people on the stage with me and 2000 people in my front. Now, how do I engage that 2000 people? So that is a trick that I played. So what I did, between the paragraphs, between the charana, I inserted a small, easily singable Namavali. Like, Natha Gari Nache Maja Sakha Panduranga. Vithala, Vithala, Jai Jai, Vithala, Vithala, Vithala. So that entire audience of 2000 could repeat it. So instead of it being a spectator program, it became a participative program. So that is an element which we had to add, because otherwise the whole thing will fade away. For example, today Marathi Abhang is not for Maharashtrians. If we do a Marathi Abhang program in, say, Bombay for an audience of 500, the next day we go to Chennai, we perform a Marathi Abhang program, the audience is 2000. So while you have a style which is meant for this, you had to, I had to perforce develop a style which is relevant to that kind of an audience. And if I don't involve them, that connect is gone. For example, there are certain Abhangs which I will never sing here. Shank Chakra Dhara Vai Jayanti Dhara Pitambara Dhara Govardhanodhara. I will not sing, it's not an Abhang in that sense. But if I do it in Chennai, people stand up and start dancing. So these are small tricks that you play to keep your program lively, to make it more appealing. While on this, another very important of Abhang, which the South is not able to understand still, is the Tod aspect. That is, the Dhruvapada is sung 3 times and then there is a break, like a Tirmanam in the Mridangam. Here there is a break which is very typical to Marathi Abhangs, Varkari Sampradaya. So if you don't do that break, it ceases to be original Marathi Abhangs. Now in South, while many people sing Marathi Abhangs, they can't understand that break concept and how to get back into that singing. So that is posing a big challenge to them. This is point number 1. Point number 2, the 3 things that you put in Marathi Abhangs. For example, Sundarate Dhyana Ubhe Vitevari. This is the way you put the tal. Whereas if it's a South Indian mind, it is tuned to a different kind of a tal. If it's Sundarate dhyana ubhe viteveri. This is how they will do.
Correct.
So these two are two different things.
Correct.
Now, how do you train your mind? Because you have to, while 1, 2, 3, in Abhang it is 2, 3, 1. So that is a change in the position of the tala. When you do this, the stress on the center one goes for a toss.
Correct.
I have seen lot of people who even can put Marathi tal in South. They are singers who perform several places, but they can't get the grip of that stress. So they start beating the tal like this. If you have a tal, next session you bring it to me, I'll explain it to you. So that the stress has to be on the second one, and it must be closed. First open, close, open, open, close, open, open, close, open. That's how it should go.
Correct.
For them, because they don't understand this, while the positioning of the beat is correct, but the way you give the stress, it becomes open, 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 or close, close, close. So that is called kotrad in Tamil. That is not, then the song loses its beauty. And this aspect, I have no clue how this is to be brought out to people who are doing this in today on stages. I have seen hundreds of big artists today cannot get this grip on this matter. So till the time this is done, it does not become original. It becomes a copy, or it becomes a derived thing. It is not the original. So this beauty, according to me, should be retained. If it is not retained, the rendering of Marathi Abhangs by music alone or by tala alone will not survive.
That is one thing. Another thing is, whenever you have introduced such changes or you have brought in such thing, as you say that I had to bring it, how is it that every time it was spur of the moment? Every time you have brought in something new, I don't think you have ever planned. I have never seen you in 40 years of planning anything. Or doing, okay, isko aisa lega to aisa hoga. I have never seen you doing that. So how is it that on the spur of the moment it comes? All the changes that you have brought.
Did I start?
Maze Manaratha also, you never sat and decided, okay, I'm going to sing it like this. One fine day you just started singing like that. How?
At the start of this interview, I said everything is preordained.
Correct.
We must trust that it is Vittal who makes you sing. The moment you think that you are doing it,
Correct.
you will go for a toss. The moment you say, Kayena vacha manasa indriyerva buddhyatmana va prakriti swabhava karom yadyat sakalam parasme narayana iti samarpayami. The moment you trust that there is some force which is making you sing, these things will happen. It has to be experienced. And you have experienced by remaining next to me. I have experienced it by it happening to me.
Correct.
Till that moment, I don't know I am going to do that.
Correct.
But on the stage, I get away successfully with that on the spot.
Yeah.
For example, when we sang just last week, Anadi Ambika Bhagavati, I didn't know which is the Dropada that I am going to take,
Correct.
which I am going to exploit.
Exactly.
Then Jagadambe, Jagadambe, Purnakadambe, Jagadambe. This happened to be the point.
Correct.
So that point was not in my mind till the time I started the song.
Exactly.
That is providence.
But then, see, when you are talking of abhangs in a Maharashtrian style, you will normally have a group of chorus, which is, this concept is not there in any of the two streams or any of the other. So how do you expect the chorus who's sitting on the stage with you, with that one flip movement, to put in that bhava and sing with you?
Yes, it is a challenge. And I confess that very often I become too demanding.
Yes.
But I become demanding not for me. I become demanding because of the situation. Now, imagine a situation, to me as a main singer, what is important? Is the two people chorus more important or the 1,000 sitting in the front more important? For me, 1,000 sitting in the front is more important. So, I do accept that I am throwing a challenge to the people who are with me.
I'm not referring to that. I'm referring to, if that means for Marathi Abhangs, and if you're going to do the chorus impromptu, you should have that dedicated group. You can't keep on changing your chorus partners or the spur of the moment, or saying that, okay, I'm going there, so somebody else will.
Tell me who is the best partner in life. For a husband, it is the wife, and for the wife, it is the husband. One presupposes that the husband understands the wife the best, or the wife understands the husband the best. But in that equation, in challenging situations like on the stage, still there could be a difficulty because mind is different. Everybody's mind is different.
Focus is different.
Focus is different, and somebody's mind works very rapidly.
Yes.
The processing, like you say, a quadra-core. What is the beauty of the quadra-core? The processing is so fast, so every expectation of the main singer, he weighs in pros and cons.
Correct.
So what happens is, suddenly there is a brainwave. See, Marathi Abhang is a very dynamic process.
Correct.
It is not something that can be planned or prepared or scripted and you decide. It doesn't happen that way. It is just happening on the move. Somebody nods the head in a particular portion that motivates you to exploit that situation, that particular portion. So it's a mix of hundreds of variables. So when that kind of a thing happens, very often the mind has already processed that information and it is hitting on a solution. Now when it hits on a solution, that solution is not shared with the others on the stage. It cannot be shared. Now for a tala and a raga, it's okay because anything that's going to happen is going to happen in that. So for them it is less of a challenge, but for the chorus it is a challenge. That's one. Second is when you are looking at a multilingual presentation. Now when we sing Marathi Abhang, it is not just Marathi Abhangs. There could be some splash of Tamil, there could be a splash of Hindi, there could be a splash of Kannada or Telugu, O Rama Ni Nama Memi Ruchira, or for that matter Rama Nama Rasipije Manuya. So these flashes happen constantly. So it's a churning process.
Yes.
So in the churning, like you would churn in a pot, the molecules fight with each other.
Correct.
So that is the same element, but it brings out the butter. So I believe that even on the stage, it's that constant churning between the singer, the mridangist, the melody player, the chorus, the harmonium. There's a constant churning. And in this churning, so long as the audience is enjoying, anything is okay. So I don't expect for example, when I sing Aganita Tara Ganangalin Naduve, suddenly I hit on a new tune and I'm singing and I change the Dhruvapada.
Yes.
Sometimes I say Adi Parashakti Adu Hindral, sometimes I say Aganita Tara Adu Hindral. Why do I do that? For example, if you realize, when we sang this Lalita Navaratna Malai in Telukintan in Malaysia, it's the same Lalita Navaratna Malai, but it was a Mariamman temple, if you recall. So the interlude with this Mata Jayavovam Lalita Ambika, I change to Mariamma Muttu Mariamma Mariamma Muttu Mariamma. Now, this may be too surprising to the chorus, but imagine the impact that you are creating on the audience. If there are 1,000 people sitting there who are all devotees of Mariamma, they are so glad that you took that name. The same experiment we tried in Tirupur when we sang.
You tried.
Yeah, whatever. So there is a sudden energy, outburst of energy. That is what Nam Sankirtan is all about. The outburst of energy, when it is channelized through a creative medium, you excel in that process. So that excelling in that process is what is very important for the audience. For example, when we sang same Aganita Tara in Madurai, and when it turned out to be their ashram's main song, how happy they became. It was not planned, it was not discussed, but it just happened. So God is always there at your back. Mage pude ubha sambhalisi. Once you accept this concept, Mage pude ubha sambhalisi, then you leave it to Him. If it doesn't happen sometimes, doesn't happen, so what? You have done, you are sincere to your program. I always believe that once you mount a stage, you must be absolutely sincere and dedicated. You will realize that my attention is never diverted by other things. I am absolutely focused. Once that switch is on, it is on. And it does not get off till the program is over. So, rendering Marathi Abhangs is an extremely dynamic kind of a challenge. Possibly this is why everybody wants to attempt, but few succeed in attempting it successfully. But that's what the fun is all about.
Actually, day before yesterday in one play, we saw that Marathi Abhangs were used as a background music. But we also felt that because it was sung in just touching the sur, it was not bringing out the bhava. Correct? So same thing happens in Marathi Abhang rendering. Unless you understand the language and the bhava, by explaining the situation to you in different language and you actually understanding that and it going inside you and then you rendering with that feeling inside you, it's totally different cup of tea, I think. But coming back to Mohan Pai's class, you also started playing tal. When and why?
I was just trying to explain to you the importance of the positioning of the beat.
Correct.
This is something which only the Marathi Abhang has. In classical music, you don't use a tal, so that question is out. In the Dakshina Bhajana Sampradaya, the tal is played in a standard manner.
Yeah. And it is a jalra.
Jalra, and it is just to keep the beat.
Yeah.
There is no beauty coming out of that instrument.
Correct.
Whereas in Marathi Abhang, it is not so. For example, if you go to a village, if there are 100 people will use the
Tal.
because that's an element of that participative spirit.
Correct.
So I thought that was a very thing. Unless I master that, I can't be a master of Marathi Abhangs. So and Mohan Pai was very perfect in Laya. He would never miss a beat. So for me, while I mastered the other elements of rendering, I also had to master that percussive element of Marathi Abhangs. And I must thank Mohan Pai. He only trained me, and he will always ask me to do dugad. You know, double the thing when the Dhruvapada is being sung, and ensure that the thod is so powerful.
Correct.
If the tal was there, I would demonstrate it. The thod was very powerful. So, if there are 50 people, even if somebody wants to make a mistake, they can't make a mistake. So it was that, people always will look at me at that thod time, so everybody went according to this thing.
Correct.
So Mohan Pai used me whenever I was not singing, when Ramu was singing or whatever, or somebody else is singing, he will always use me for the tal. So I had an exposure on one side for singing, for the other side for the harmonium, for the other side for the tal, and later times he even used me to ensure that the program is properly seated.
Correct.
His seating arrangement was not like the South Indian type that it was always a U shape where you had important people sitting in the front, the accompaniments were on the side. So that's the placement of that instruments were also so beautifully handled, and all these elements
You
added.
still do that on your stages. When you perform, you still keep the U shape.
I tried to maintain the U shape,
Huh.
but it is not as deep as it used to be during Mohan Pai times. Mohan Pai times, it was not on the stage. It was generally a bigger kind of a place.
Correct.
Whereas now we have started performing more on the stage. So I have to cut paste whatever that is required to ensure that.
Not only that, in U shape there is the advantage of having a eye contact with each and
Absolutely.
every member of your group.
So the person who sings the chorus is actually in the front.
Yes.
Whereas in a stage program, they go behind.
Correct.
So unless the chorus persons are quite smart,
Yeah.
which I must say my wife is.
Thank you.
So unless that happens, it becomes very difficult.
Yes.
So this is why the constant change in pattern is very important. For any format to survive, it has to take in mind the changing times.
Correct.
For example, earlier we used to sing for 3 hours, 4 hours and all that, but today 1.5 hours is the maximum.
Yes.
Because that energy that you bring, it is very difficult to sustain it for more than 1.5 hours.
That is one thing. Another thing, people are also losing out
Absolutely.
their
Absolutely.
concentration on this
Absolutely.
particular.
Absolutely.
Like previously, Natya Sangeet used to be 12 minutes, 13 minutes, 14 minutes.
Yeah,
one
today
song.
nobody is going to listen to
Today
it.
hardly 2 minutes is more than enough.
Correct. Similarly, in those days we had an elaborate arati,
Yes. Yes.
and you find that off late I have cut off arati
Yes.
because people don't have that
Not even
aptitude.
Pasai Badan. After the Aarti, there used to be Pasai Dan.
Yeah.
Nowadays, many times, if you see the people which are inclined towards this, then only you take the Pasai Dan,
Correct.
otherwise you don't take it.
Absolutely.
But you
So-
still maintain with Bhairavi.
Nay, while you change, the change must not change the core values.
Correct.
For example, I was asking Krishna Bhanasava, why do you always start with Jai Jai Ram Krishna, why Sudarata Dhyana, why Rupa Pahata? So I gave a very fitting answer, a very logical explanation as to why it is that way. And it has survived for 750 years. So I am nobody to change a format which has been in existence for 750 years. One has to be very careful. So we change what is changeable, but we don't change the core values of the presentation.
Coming back to that Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hari, when they have conceived it like Jai Jai Ram Krishna Hari, Sundarata Dhyana and Rupa Pahata Lochani, these three as beginning songs, there has to be some reason. All are sung by different saints. In fact, Tukaram is much later period, yet that is added into the Varkari Sampradaya.
Correct. See, Varkari Sampradaya is something that was energized by Tukaram. While it started with Gora Kumbhar in terms of hierarchy, Gora Kumbhar, Nivrittinath, Jnaneshwar, Sopan, Muktai. You had Sant Namdev, Sant Chokha Mela, Sant Parijah Bhagwat, Sant Sonar Narahari, Janabai. And then there was a little gap. Then you had Sant Bhanudas, Sant Eknath, and Tukaram in recent times, about 400 years back. And recently you have Swami Swarupananda, who has also composed a lot of Abhang. So this is the hierarchy. Now that has also undergone some change. But the concept of starting with J.J. Ramakrishna was original. It was always there even during Sant Jnaneshwar's time. But the concept of singing J.J. Ramakrishna, then Sundarata Dhyana, then Rupa Pahata is of recent origin. So what happens is, I gave an explanation in one of my events that Rama, Krishna, Hari are three namas which is endearing to the entire Sanatana Dharma. So when you sing in J.J. Ramakrishna, the crowd is getting involved. See, in anything there is a process, there is an organic growth in your this thing, and you must give it time for that chemical reaction. So the reaction starts when J.J. Ramakrishna happens. So when the reaction has started, everybody is now tuned to the three nama, and then you are kind of forcing them to look at Vitthal and start enjoying the Rupa Lavanya. That is what Sundarita Dhyana is all about. So you start enjoying his Mukha, the Mandahasa, the Kirita, the Kaustubha, the Pitambara, the way he is holding his hand. So Sundarita Dhyana, Ubhe Vitevari, Karakatavari. So you are enjoying the Rupa Lavanya of the figure. Fortunately, Vitthal has only one form. Unlike many other gods where you can see them in various forms, Vitthal there is only one form. So Tukaram Maharaj has explained that form so beautifully through this song. So you are enjoying the Rupa Lavanya. And then you sing Rupa Pahata Lochani Sukha Dhale Ho Sazani Toha Vithala Barva Toha Madhava. So that is a composition of Sant Jnaneshwar. Sant Jnaneshwar, having enjoyed the Rupa Lavanya, goes into the figure and starts enjoying the Tatastha Lavanya, the one which is inside. So the Lavanya which is situate inside the figure is what Rupa Pahata Lochani Sukha Dhale Ho Sazani Toha Vithala Barva Sarva Sukhache Agaru. So it's a very abstract form. While one is a Saguna, this becomes Nirguna. So while you have enjoyed him through the Saguna route, you have then elevated yourself, you have become enlightened, and you start enjoying him in the Nirguna Rupa. And when you have done both this process, then again you sing J.J. Ramakrishna Hari, then a new kind of Chaitanya envelops you, and that is when the entire crowd starts singing with you. So this start is a start to tell the audience that this is a format, this is a journey. It is not one song. You can't just enjoy one song and go away. No. In Marathi Abhang, it is an entire journey from start to end. From J.J. Ramakrishna Hari till Pasayadan, it is a complete, you engulf them, you don't allow their minds to go anywhere. Correct. And you just keep them bound to you.
There is no break.
There is no break, there is no letting them go anywhere. There is no break or there is no interval or anything like that. You keep them completely engulfed. And then you shorten the span to 1.5 hours, so they are comfortable, we are comfortable, the Sharira is comfortable.
In Wari, when the program starts, they don't even wait for the Mridangam person or person to set the he will move, second person will come.
Yes. No, it's a free flowing thing. In a Wari, it's a free flowing thing. As people are, they are enjoying the journey, they are going there to see Vitthal. Nothing stops them. The Soro, Tal, nothing stops them. They just go, whether they get the food, they don't get the food, whether it is raining, they have slippers, nothing stops them. They just go around. That is the beauty of, so it is not music, it is an experience. Now I think we must shift our attention from Marathi Abhang learning into presentation. We have covered more or less. Now what could be the future of Marathi Abhangs? Now I have tried one more experiment by trying to change the melodic content. Till now, recently, we were always accompanied by a harmonist, at best a flute or a shanai like Mohan Pai used to use. But now we have taken in violin, which is a completely new addition. So I think one has to keep growing, one has to keep evolving and bring in new ideas and make it work.
With this Marathi Abhang's classes with Mohan Pai, you also were learning Tamil songs, or you had an attraction towards Carnatic, or which side?
No, I won't say that. One was for me, for all said and done, my guru was my own elder brother. Ramu used to sing a lot of Utukadu, which were very complicated Tamil. So that automatically went in. I was always enamored by Pittukudi Murugadas, who was a great singer. So I keep listening to his cassettes. And all said and done, Guruji was always there. So I've attended thousands of programs of Guruji. So unconsciously, all this have seeped in. So today at the touch of a button, I could just do Marathi Abhangs, I could just do Hindi, Brahmananda, Surdas, Kabirdas, Tulsi, or I could just do Utukadu, just Tamil. In fact, I am now yearning for a Tamil program. While wherever I go, because of the title Maharashtra Abhanga Ratna, everybody wants me to sing Marathi Abhangs, but I am yearning where people will only ask me to sing Tamil, because there is so much in Tamil to be sung, so beautiful compositions. So Nondudalum is just one example. So like that, you can sing for 3 hours on Tamil alone. So let's hope an opportunity will come when we do that.
You started Hindi. When did you start Hindi?
Hindi is again because of Pitukuli Murugadas. Pitukuli Murugadas used to sing some very appealing Hindi numbers like Aaj Sakhi Sat Sangat Mein Mil Ke Prabhu Ke Gun Gaan Karo. Other one was Aaj Sakhi Sat Guru Ghar Aaye Mere Man Mein, then Anand Bhayore, Bajore Bhaiya Ram Govinda Hari. Even Guruji used to sing a lot of Hindi songs. So all that added to the repertoire. And then I have made my own small changes here and there to make it more appealing, like Meera Bhajans. We did that. Like I continue Guruji's tradition of this Siyapati Ramchandra Ki Jai or Vrindavan Mein Kunja Bhavan Mein, because these are all very, very popular numbers. And Samartha Ramdas is something which others have not exploited. We have taken a lot of his songs into the profile. So all this put together makes it more interesting.